The faint breeze coming down the ground from behind St George, running towards the Sir Donald Bradman stand end at the Adelaide Oval, and this historic match gets underway. The first daytime Winfield Cupper ever played, and the youngster Keating gets first touch of the ball. Big lump of a lad wearing shirt number 43. Peter Sterling joins me today.
And of course, Ray, a very important game for both teams. Brisbane in the 5 at the moment. St George 2 points adrift. They will join the Broncos if they can win this afternoon, and that will take them into the 5 as the first mistake is made by the Brisbane team just outside the 22. Walter's not happy.
There's the hit. 2 St George players going in, picking over the top, and the ball came away from Trevor Gilmeister. Taking the tap. Back towards the blind side.
Once again, Ray, we'll see St George looking.
Runs it back towards the blind side.
Once again, Ray, we'll see St George looking to set their big men out wide. Goulet has taken one up there. He'll drop back to the blind side, and this man Priddle has been hit very hard, and it's been deemed high.
Tony Priddle taken with a coat hanger. Gilmeister's been told to come back.
Well, we see Priddle taking an inside ball here. Well, that is high. It started below the chin, but certainly Gilmeister's arm did go up. And that's sailing close to the wind with the current climate of head-high tackles.
First points attempt for the game. Strikes it. The touch judges are getting away. No goal. So St George an opportunity that's gone begging for them. 0-0 in Sunday Night League. Is it ironic that Manson is dealing out some penalties in the 5-metre area? Common talk in rugby league that David won't have the third Origin match because his failure to keep them apart in Origin 1. Lazarus goes ahead. Well, I don't think Paul Hoff touched the football in his time on the ground. And again, we see some loose play. 32 metres out from the St George line.
Well, this is the incident where the ball was actually towed through. No advantage played. He's put his shoulder out there, reaching down for the football. I know how he feels. It's certainly very suspect.
Hello! The scrum has erupted. A couple of the big fellows coming together. Sorry, Pete, I interrupted you there, but for a moment I thought all hell was going to break loose. Nothing much in it, really, as it turns out.
Now we see the scrum about to be set by, well, there's the first punch thrown by the number 10 for St George, and that's Guy Picken.
What about Gilmeister? He broke out of the scrum and started dealing them from where the halfback normally stands.
He'll have to put this one well and truly dead. If he doesn't kick the goal, he has missed the goal. No points, and that would have been against the run of play.
Play out to the 32-metre line. St George's end of the Adelaide Oval. Saints running away from the cricket scoreboard end.
And Kevin Walters has been assisted for the field, and another replacement for Brisbane already onto the field. Darren Plowman will go on. Interesting to see just what they do positionally with 2 replacements made early in this match.
Julian O'Neill back at fullback now.
In fact, Pat Savage is going to go on. They've changed their mind, the Brisbane bench.
Hancock wrestled down by 3 St George players. All of them wearing those Lycra thigh pad type shorts. And Saints take it down to the 22-metre line. Good attacking position for the Dragons, played by Barnhill.
Well, I thought Barnhill had men outside there. He seemed to create a 3-man overlap after the Brisbane mistake, but decided to go to ground with the ball.
Goldthorpe changing the point of the attack. Goulet goes up hard. He's pulled down only about 10 metres out. Away now through Goldthorpe's hands. Peter Coyne. Short ball now for Barnhill again. Gets a magic ball inside for Peter Coyne. Scooped up on the run by Goldthorpe. He flicks it out now, and it's Rex Turk. He gets it down. Oh, that's a magic try. That's a magic try by the Saints.
Well, that's excellent ball skills by all the people involved in that try. Was started when David Barnhill was able to get him behind the line. Could have gone a penalty to St George there. One of his support players was taken out before he was able to offload. But Goldthorpe did a marvellous job. Here's Barnhill taking the defence on, slips in behind, Gets one back inside to Peter Coyne. Well, it wasn't a penalty. It was Mark Coyne tripping over one of the other players, but Goldthorpe picked it up on the fly. The one-arm flick out to Turp, and what a great piece of play there by the St George team.
Some great rugby league skills in this try. Players supporting others, and that's one example of it. And then look at this, the one-handed pick-up by Goldthorpe, done with such confidence. He shows the flick pass to Turp, and he strains his way over the line and plants it down. Peter Coyne with the conversion. It's going away. No goal. So St George leading the Brisbane Broncos by 4 points to 0.
Well, the first try to St George, and really that probably goes with the run of play. But both teams showing a willingness to move the football. Augurs very well for the crowd here in Adelaide. There's a good hit there from Trevor Gilmeister.
Potter out to his quarter.
And certainly have been impressed by this new man.
Potter out to his quarter.
And certainly have been impressed by this new man Keating in the Brisbane team. He's had come up with 8 tackles and 7 hit-ups early in this game, so his work rate isn't to be questioned. But again, another mistake, and that has been a part of this match. Plenty of mistakes from both teams early in the tackle count.
This is how it happened.
Well, he's stolen the ball. That's got to be a penalty.
Well, exactly. Julian O'Neill, after Brisbane win the scrum, is brought down about 30 metres out from the line. They continue to the right for Mark Hone. Kerrod Walters into dummy half. Gilmeister running a decoy, back for Madison, now Langer. Langer! He's inside the corner! Now Savage! Savage! He gets it down! Brisbane have struck back very quickly.
Well, put it down to the brilliance and the great evasive skill of the halfback Alan Langer. Really didn't appear to be anything on. They hadn't created an overlap by any means. 4 points all. Brisbane have hit back straight away. And Langer pretty much did it all himself. Got in behind the line. A simple back line move. Langer took the defence on. A poor miss there from David Barnhill and positioned his winger perfectly. Number 5, who's just come into the game, Pat Savage, crosses with his first touch of the football. And here we see it from front on the little dummy inside, and that's just a very bad miss there from David Barnhill. Perfect torpedo pass to the outside man.
Madison. Can he convert the try scored by Savage? Left the boot okay. Is it coming around? Just wide. So the goal kickers are having an unhappy start. Peter Coyne starts us off again. And down it comes for young Keating, Sean Keating, to bring it back. 15 metres out from his own line. Kerrod Walters working with Plowman, the big winger on the far side. This is Gilmeister, pulled down by Barnhill and also by Scott Goulet. But he did manage to get it out to the 32-metre line. Saints are inside the 5 again. Penalty goes to the Broncos. Langer finding the line just across the halfway mark. Not getting as much ground as he probably wanted. Lazarus. Kerrod Walters, his brother, off the field, heavily concussed.
And with his brother off the field, we see Julian O'Neill has slotted into the 5/8 position, and Michael Hancock is in the centres off the wing. Langer.
Away from Julian O'Neill. This is Hancock in the centres, doing some fine work. Oh, he beat 4 of them. Down to the 22 line. Johns. They've stacked the blind side. Oh, cut-out ball. Savage. He gets a double. Well, what a pass by Gilmeister. Did he mean it or not? I don't know.
I think he did mean it. And the man who caught it, hasn't he got some speed? I know he's only had to travel 5 or 10 metres for both of his tries, but he showed great speed there. Once he got the good ball from Gilmeister, and this is going, we see Renouf goes through as a decoy. That took about 4 players out of the play. And Savage able to beat Michael Potter, a despairing dive in the corner.
They'll be calling him Alf Gilmeister.
Well, I remember a pass he's thrown in a game, a flick pass around his body. Probably one of the best passes I've seen on a football field. He's backed it up there with the second man play to give his winger a free run to the line.
One in from touch. Identical mound to the one he used earlier to convert, or try to convert, the Savage try, and he's put in an identical kick. No change in the scoreline. 8-4 in favour of Brisbane. Hancock. Away and around. And another. Can he beat a man? Collins is left to bring him down eventually. 8-4 to Brisbane. Renoff. Renoff tries to bust them. 5 metres into St George's area. Langer goes to the right, steps off the right foot. Now there was a player held there. This is a penalty. And a little bit of a difference of opinion out there with a couple of the players, but this is a penalty for Brisbane. A player not in possession, held back out of the play.
Well, I'm not surprised that Alan Langer has kicked for touch here as we see the replay. Well, that was Scott Goulet coming in.
Keating. 7 metres from the line. Brisbane looking for their third try. Madison. They're in the centre of the ground. Players evenly spread left and right. They fold from right to left for Lazarus. 3 metres out.
And Brett Plowman setting himself behind the ruck area. They'll be looking for him up the middle.
Here he
comes.
Now, Peter. Plowman goes for it. I think he might have snared it. He has. Brett Plowman gets the try. Well called, Stello.
Well, why wouldn't you be looking for Brett Plowman close to the line? He's been a handful for the St George defence all afternoon, and he's come up the middle of the ruck there from an inside ball from Kerrod Walters getting out from dummy half, and just too much size, too much power. Got down low, and that helped as well. Look at that. He's gone straight through Scott Goulet, carried him back over the line. Unstoppable from that distance, and he's got down low, and that's important. Gets the ball down there. Well, there it is, no doubt. The referee was in reasonable position, and he did take his time before awarding it, but he had no doubts.
Madison from right in front. He adds the extras, and St George down to Brisbane at the moment by 14 points to 4. Julian O'Neill. Potter goes back inside his own 10 to field this ball. Gets it back beyond the 22. There's the siren. That's the end of the first half, with the Brisbane side scoring 3 tries and leading St George by 14 points to 4. We're at the Adelaide Oval, bringing you Sunday Night League. There'll be more of it other side of this. David Manson calls time on. Second half of proceedings, with St George guarding the Sir Donald Bradman stand into the ground.
You know, that big tackle count was led by Scott Goulet for St George. He came up with 18. Tierney, Collins and Mackay all on 16. And for Brisbane, the new boy, Keating, leads away with 14. As we see another mistake early on from St George. Lazarus on 11. So plenty of work being done up front.
Well, Brian Smith, the St George coach, would be tearing his hair out. The number of mistakes St George has made, the cough-ups, they all seem to be happening around their own 22. Gilmeister.
Well, realistically, if Brisbane are the next team to score, especially a try, I think the game's over.
Kerrod Walters, a little handoff for Keating. Cut down by Collins around the legs. Mackay over the top. Hone. That's the 10-metre line. A little handoff. That went backwards through the legs of Kerrod Walters. Keating. 5 tackles. Langer calling for it. Waiting it into the end goal. A race down there by Plowman. But Cameron Wade it is that rakes it over the dead ball line. Now Brisbane will come back with the ball for 6 more attempts. Madison, 45 metres out, giving it to Hancock to take back. Almost running straight through St George. Walters. Madison. Busy game from Terry Madison today. Kerrod Walters scampering out from dummy half. He's done that a few times. Langer, Gilmeister. Getting close to the line again as Langer works it out for Julian O'Neill. Back inside for Renoff. Renoff! He picks up another Bronco try.
Well, some great skill once again from this Brisbane team, but all the pressure on St George through their own inability to hold the football. A mistake early in the second half gave Brisbane possession, and you just can't hold a team out like Brisbane for 6 tackles on top of each other, as we've seen. There's a little step from O'Neill, got halfway through the gap. Renouffer doubled back inside, beat 1 tackle and was able to score. It turned out to be a pretty easy try. O'Neill here inside Mackay. Goulet takes him low. Well held by Renouffer, and he was able to brush through Michael Potter's tackle at the end. That may just about wrap it up. A long way to go, but tough to come from behind this Brisbane team.
About 10 metres off centre. Relatively easy kick for Terry Madison, and he makes it look that way too, doesn't he? Enlarging that lead now for the Brisbane Broncos. They lead St George by 20 points to 4, early stages second half. Goldthorpe. Collins. Potter. Goulet. Goldthorpe again. Priddle away for Mark Coyne. Cameron Wade inside. Picked up by Elliott. Is it Elliott?
Yes, it is. 49.
No, it's Smith. It's Tony Smith. He gets the try for St George. 20 points to 8 now.
Well, last tackle play once again, and it was good support play that time from St George. Started by Noel Goldsmith, threw the long ball to Tony Priddle. He was able to get a one-hander away to Mark Coyne. Cameron Wade looked like scoring in the corner himself, but the cover came across, back inside to Tony Smith, and he was able to pull his way out of a tackle from the Brisbane defence. There's the good ball. The one-hander, Coyne turns his back. Some good cover defence there from Glenn Lazarus. I don't know how he got across there. Hancock just didn't have the strength to be able to hold Tony Smith out, and a very important try for St George.
That's his angle. Walker strikes it. It's coming around nicely. Hits the upright. Bad luck for the lad, and bad luck for St George. No change. 20 points to 8 in favour of Brisbane. That might have hurt him. He looked like he got a knee in the side of the head. Priddle. He busts them. Langer tries to tackle him. Now Goulet. Goulet's over the halfway. He's got 2 to beat. Looks for his winger. Positioned him beautifully. Wade goes in to score for St George.
Well, some magnificent play by the St George big man, and there's one of them. The final pass thrown by Scott Goulet, and he did it very well. Ray pointed out, couldn't have positioned his winger any better to put him in under the black dot. But Tony Priddle made the initial bust. They are up against 12 men, and missed tackles do count. That was Kerrod Walters. Alan Langer couldn't get his hand around, and Goulet able to beat 2 or 3 men there. Showed great pace for a big man. And look at that, beautiful play. Cameron Wade in under the black dot. This will be converted. 6 points of difference. They're right back in this game, St George.
This is the try again. The big man Priddle, he struggled back to his feet, and then look at this. You reckon Priddle's not big, but then Goulet comes onto it like the land of the giants. And Cameron Wade, he sneaks away after getting a beautiful ball, and St George are back. Walker, he adds the extra 2 points, and so it's 20 points to 14. The Dragons back with a chance.
We do have plenty of time left. We are inside the last 10.
And there's the big men again, Goulet and Priddle again.
Yeah, combining very well. They've done that pretty well most of the game, but the gaps are starting to appear now as the defence starts to tire.
20 points to 14 at the Adelaide Oval. Goulet, Priddle again. Oh, they're hunting as a pair. Tony Smith appealing for the penalty. Mackay. That's going to find touch, is it? No, it's going to find touch in goal. So it'll come back to the 22 for the restart. Hone. Keating. Every time he's taken the ball up to them, he's made ground. His coach would be happy with him. Gilmeister to the halfway. And this is something that Brisbane has been able to do all day. Forward after forward. well over the ad line, all gaining 5 metres or more. No marker, so Madison goes ahead himself. Home was going sideways, then he straightened it. They're way down to the 22 line on 4 forward plays. Langer, he grubs ahead. Michael Potter fields it. Julian O'Neill brings him down. 15 out from the St George line. Walker. Mark Coyne. That tackle count is starting to come back to normality. St George have still been required to make a lot more. Lazarus is coming back from the sin bin. Mackay is the big fellow. Brad Mackay is cramped up. And this time you can bet your sweet Bippy that he's not telling lies. They don't need to waste time, St George. Collins through Goldthorpe. Tierney, struggling run, straining his way down to the 40-metre line. Replacements coming on and off here. Hard to keep a track of them all, but Andrew Walker kicks now. Hancock, he goes across. Strong game from him today, Michael Hancock. Very seldom do you see otherwise. Good defence by St George. Walker put them all onside. Savage. It's not the place for the kid to get involved in the heavy traffic. He's too valuable. Lazarus. Kerrod Walters, Brett Plowman. Barging his way down to the halfway mark.
And Lazarus now back on the field for Brisbane, so they've got their full complement of players. Well within the last 10 now. They'll be looking to play good field position, and this is the man they'll be looking to. Alan Langer screwing one back off the right boot. And this is the corner that they have opted to come on most occasions. Cameron Wade picks up, throws it to Michael Potter, who is hampered at the moment. He was hurt earlier in a tackle.
Goldthorpe out to the 22. Brad Mackay is off.
Keeping the ball alive, the Saints, but there's a wasted tackle.
Beattie is back on. Mackay off. St George deep in their own territory. Goulet. Langer right around the bootlaces with that throw of his, using the legs and the arms. Played by Collins. 5 tackles gone. Walker. Little chip and chase, and O'Neill. He's there and reads it nicely for Brisbane.
See, I thought he could have run one then. He had numbers outside. There were plenty of cover defence coming across for Brisbane, but they didn't have anyone up in the front defensive line. And they've given up some cheap possession there, St George, right on halfway.
Time running out now for St George. Hancock. Keating. Gilmeister. Good run by Gilmeister, some 20 metres.
Oh, that's a great run. Great run. Took the forwards head on. Very determined run. Langer once again. Well, he's hit the referee there.
Now, the referee has been struck by the ball, and to my knowledge, it will be a scrum, and the attacking side, according to territory, will have the feed here. Goldthorpe. Walker. Now, Turp.
They won't catch him. Savage coming from behind. Will he get him?
No! It's a great try to St George. Rex Turp gets his second for the day. Well, 20 points to 18. Very close to full time, and the kick to come.
And again, Noel Goldthorpe did some great work. And can he score a try, Rex Turp? We see Savage coming from behind. We've said how fast he is. Turp showed great speed as well. The ankle tap. There's Andrew Walker. He's about to have the kick at goal, so plenty of pressure about to be applied to him, but he picked up Turp beautifully on the inside. There was an ankle tap here, but the momentum took him across the try line.
Can the young man bring St George level? Strikes it, and it's just wide. Just wide of the uprights. That will see Brisbane get home in this game. 20 points to 18.
Well, it's been a marvellous comeback by the St George team, and they'll certainly rue some ineffective defence in the first half, allowing the Brisbane team to score quite a few tries. We're going to see some great ball movement now in this last minute or so. St George, nothing to lose. As the two big men, they combine once again, but the referee's found a forward pass, and that'll wrap things up. Under a minute to go on the clock, a Brisbane feed. Alan Langer won't have one against the feed. Lost by the Brisbane pack, and they'll just wind things down, so they've snuck home. And it does take us back to that St George decision not to kick the goal in the first half. It was 2 points on offing. I know that the game changes if they do kick it, but that's what they're going to be beaten by.
Plowman just inside the 22. Langer. O'Neill. Madison. Adelaide crowd counting it down. Well, St George have really come back gamely, but in vain. But sufficient, one would think, to bring the crowds back again, should the Winfield Cup be down in Adelaide again soon. Brisbane winning the match, 20 points to 18.